Have you ever had an adventure in a cemetery? Not the kind that means pushing over stones, and there's no digging involved, but the spiritual kind, with lots of possibilities, like finding where Grandma is buried, or finding Great-Grandpa in a sea of granite. If you decide to come, here are some things you could find. How Grandma really spelt her name. Dates of death and burial for a loved one. The names of Grandpa's 2 wives. I didn't know he had 2. Children who died young. Aunts, uncles, and relatives buried side by side. And my favorite, the ins and outs of family relationships. You could also find new neighbors. Not the guy who died last week, but the people who lived in your town, even though they lived there in a different century. And remember, if you get lost, ask a guy down a hole for some help. More things you could find. Epitaphs, someone's last and best word. Resumes, and important prayers. Discover someone's greatest passion, like biking. Music, organizations, driving. But the biggest adventure of all is often finding the person's stone that you're interested in. Remember, if you get stuck, ask a guy down a hole for some help. Here are some hints for your search. Some cemeteries mark roads and sections. Anything from St. Mary's to row 47-344. Some have websites. Some offer maps that tell you where a plot is. If you don't live near where a relative is buried, you might still be able to find them by visiting a website called Find a Grave, where volunteers search out and photograph specific graves for out-of-towners. Here is a sample Find a Grave page. Yippee! Finding Great-Grandma is cause for celebration when it happens. Celebrate with a big hello to her, or a flag ceremony, or a prayer. Finding Uncle Joe or Grandma can also be the first step to a family reunion, a family history video, or finding distant cousins online. The most important thing of all is that cemetery adventures bring out some of life's biggest questions. What is life all about? Where are my loved ones now? What will happen to me after I die? Take heart. Lots of people have found answers to these questions, and you will too. And remember, if you get lost, ask a guy down a hole for some help. So Godspeed on your big adventure in the cemetery.